Do you like the idea of having the freedom to work from wherever in the world you are, whenever you like? If so, being a freelancer, and specifically a freelance web designer, may be a fantastic career choice for you. In this video, I tell you everything I would do if I was to start learning web design from scratch. My name's Mike and I've been freelancing for a few years now. I've had my ups and downs, so I'm in a great position to tell you how to accelerate your success whilst freelancing. If you've done a little bit of research, you're probably completely overwhelmed and don't know where to start in web design. Do you use Wix? Do you use Webflow? Do you manually code it? Shopify? WordPress? Framer? While I can't tell you which one to choose, I can tell you, knowing now, what I would do if I was to start from scratch and try and get to where I am now as quickly as possible. If you follow these steps, in 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to be in an incredible position. You're going to be full of confidence, but probably in a position where you're considering either going to businesses and offering websites for free to build up a portfolio, or even charging for websites. So step 1, I'd go onto YouTube and I would look up beginner HTML and CSS coding. It may sound daunting, but if you start from scratch, you might never need to use these again in future, but to understand the fundamentals about what's going on in the background is really important. So you don't need to create anything specifically amazing using HTML and CSS, but just to get something out there, push something onto the World Wide Web and understand how HTML and CSS links. That's a great starting point. Step 2 would be again to watch YouTube videos and understand how the web works, what servers are, how the internet works, how you upload files onto the web, and also how content management systems work. The third thing I would do, and this might surprise some of you, would be to learn how to use a page builder, and specifically I would choose Webflow. Now, why would I choose Webflow over the others? So Webflow is actually really complex to use as a beginner, but that's a good thing. If you've spent the time already understanding the fundamentals of how HTML and CSS work, what Webflow will do is allow you to design a website without code, but you'll be understanding what is going on in the background. So again, I would find another YouTube video. I did this too in my early days, and I found a video which I think it was about an hour to an hour and a half long, and I spent all day watching this video, breaking it down and publishing my first website built on Webflow. Another good reason that Webflow is a great place to start is because it's free. You don't need to link up a custom domain name, you don't need to pay them monthly fees, you can just practice around and publish something on one of their free subdomains. You could really spend a lot of time here in Webflow. Look at the animations, look at the styling, learn a bit about user experience, again for on YouTube. Learn about some principles of web design. Learn about alignment, font hierarchy, what colours work well together. I'd recommend spending a few days at least here. Now, once you've got fairly comfortable with Webflow, you're in a great position. You could in theory stop here. You could approach local businesses that don't have a website or they need a website refresh, and you could offer your help. However, it's what I would do. So step 4 would be to buy some hosting, as in web hosting, and install WordPress as the content management on that hosting. Again, you can find videos on how to do this. The hosts which I would recommend based on experience and pricing as well is Hostinger and SiteGround. They're both fantastic. For the next step, set up WordPress and install plugins on that site. You're going to spend a lot of time here. You want to be comfortable with the interface. So why did I pull you away from Webflow and into WordPress? So Webflow has its own hosting. The stuff you build on Webflow is hosted on their servers, and you can't do anything to take it elsewhere. Kind of. On the Pro version, you can download the files, but you can't download functionable forms and different interactions and stuff like that. So when you're a web designer, it gets a little bit difficult with the hosting and payments, because in your account you might have multiple sites and you're paying per site for the hosting. However, your client might be wanting to pay for the hosting, so then you act as a pass-through and then you've got another thing to deal with as a web designer. It doesn't make sense. Also, it is very expensive compared to other hosts out there. But back to WordPress. So you want to get really comfortable with the interface. It can look a little bit dated in there, but WordPress is open source, which means you own the website. And even if you choose to use a different host, those are your files, and you can, like I say, you can host anywhere you like. You can host on your own server, your client's server, choose different servers based on price. It's really up to you, and you have the freedom and flexibility. Also, 50 to 60% of the web is built using WordPress. So there's a huge community out there to turn to if you get stuck with something. This is invaluable. And the final thing I would do would be to install Elementor. So Elementor is a page builder. There's a free and a pro version. I'd recommend the pro version, but you don't need it while you're starting out. So Elementor allows you to design stunning sites whilst being really easy and almost no code too. Another benefit of using Elementor is, again, there's a huge community of people out there to turn to if you get stuck, and loads of people are familiar with it. So that may surprise you. It isn't as hard as what you think. Yes, web design can be complicated, web development can be complicated, there is coding involved, but nowadays ChatGPT can write you code if you get stuck, and it does work very well. So I wouldn't spend loads of time doing that. That's why I say understand the fundamentals of it, so then you know what's going on, but you can use AI to help you with custom CSS in things like Elementor. And just a quick note on JavaScript. I personally wouldn't spend too much time trying to understand JavaScript. Most websites that you can build on Elementor won't even require you to use it. And just remember that as you grow, you'll start to network with other professionals, so there's always developers that you can turn to. So I hope you found that video helpful. This is a new channel, and I'm trying to be consistent with posting videos. So if you show me you like it by liking it, commenting, or subscribing, that will really help me be consistent and keep churning out these videos for you. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon.